This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
We're doing very well in healthcare. We'll see what happens. But this is a great bill. There's a great plan.
House Republicans are quietly negotiating another GOP healthcare proposal. President Trump looking optimistic about the new plan that would replace Obamacare. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the week that was in Washington, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin tonight with the ever-increasing concern about wildfires across the state and here on the Suncoast. Right now, firefighters from across the area are helping battle a large brush fire in Collier County. Sarasota County's helicopter is on the scene, dropping water over the area. The Florida National Guard has also been deployed, where more than 3,000 acres have been scorched so far in one of fire east of Naples. It's only about 10% contained, and mandatory evacuations are in effect. A second brush fire burned about 350 acres and is now contained. Governor Rick Scott says the state is coordinating resources to battle the fires. Still, help came too late for one farm owner.
My family farm that's burning down as we speak. Terrible tragedy. A few hours ago, we were told there was a voluntary evacuation. We started preparing. It came out of nowhere. It hit us hard. We've had maybe 1 or 2 hours to get everything packed up and ready to go.
The cause of both fires is unknown. Although Manatee County has not yet issued a ban on burning, a red flag warning is now in effect for both Sarasota and Manatee counties. Conditions are forcing the National Weather Service to issue a red flag warning. The drought index, both for Manatee and Sarasota County, is extremely dry.
Right now we're seeing fires start from trees and power lines, from welding equipment on job sites, from catalytic converters sitting on tall, dry grass. The conditions are just conducive for almost anything to start a fire.
Manatee County fire officials will be going to county commissioners on Tuesday, pushing for a ban on burning. Dozens of prosecutors and judges from across the nation are filing a legal brief in support of a Florida prosecutor who refuses to seek the death penalty. The brief was filed today with the Florida Supreme Court, backing State Attorney Aramis Ayala's right to decide not to seek capital punishment in her cases in her Orlando district. After Ayala recently announced her decision, Florida Governor Rick Scott removed her from about 24 death penalty cases, including one involving accused cop killer Markeith Lloyd. The brief filed says Scott has no authority to interfere with Ayala's cases. A Florida state senator is resigning after using racial slurs during a conversation with African-American colleagues. Republican Senator Frank Artillis submitted a resignation letter to the Senate president today, 4 days after he used a derogatory term and made other obscene comments at fellow senators at a private club near the state capitol. He later apologized on the Senate floor. Governor Rick Scott weighed in on his departure.
If he worked for me, I come from the private sector. If he had said those things in the private sector, I'd immediately fired him. You shouldn't talk derogatorily about people like that. There should not be any racist comments.
I would like to specifically apologize to 2 members.
Artillis' resignation is effective immediately. House leaders are not embracing Governor Rick Scott's request this week to boost funding for Visit Florida. Scott initially requested $76 million for Florida marketing and then increased it to $100 million. However, the House wants to slash funding for the Tourism Promotion Agency altogether, also rejecting Scott's call for $85 million for the Economic Development Agency, Enterprise Florida.
I want to say I love the governor to death, but I've taken some slings and arrows over the last couple months. I've been told I hate beaches, I hate visitors, I hate hotels, I hate tourists, because I'm not adequately funding Visit Florida.
House Speaker Richard Corcoran says the governor needs to defend a number of Visit Florida deals, including a $1 million contract with rapper Pitbull and an $11.6 million sponsorship of a cooking show hosted by celebrity chef Emeril Lagasse. The Florida House is approving a bill increasing criminal penalties related to the deadly synthetic drug fentanyl. The bill would add fentanyl to the state drug trafficking laws. Supporters of the measure say the legislation will put the worst of the worst behind bars.
No one but a surgeon and in a hospital has any business having fentanyl, and it's killing our citizens. So people just need to beware. Do not buy anything. Do not take any pill that's not coming from a doctor.
Fentanyl is 50 times more powerful than morphine, and it can kill you if you take it just one time. Bob, is there any relief out there for these drought conditions?
Yes, a little bit. Unfortunately, with that good news comes some bad news, too, because there could be some isolated thunderstorms over the weekend, which do start these fires pretty quickly as a result of them being so isolated. Well, here's the fire danger scale. Get a look at this. All the numbers here along the Suncoast in the 600 range, except for Hardee County. You get that right there again. 618 in Sarasota County, I should say 612 in Sarasota County, and 655 in DeSoto County. There is a fire weather warning now for East Manatee County. Again, that's a result of humidities running in the 30 percentile range right there east of I-75. And then counties to the south of us, there's been some low humidity. I want to show you this. This is a radar picture. We look for rain normally, but what we're seeing is a couple different things, and not rain, but this right here along the Manatee County and stretching right across the central portion of it, that is the sea breeze front. So that's where cooling temperatures have moved in east of Lakewood Ranch and Parish. This down here is actually a fire near Port Charlotte, just to the west of Port Charlotte. There was a fire there earlier. That fire seems to be under control right now, but the smoke plume was heading in this direction, and now it's starting to move off to the east. There's another fire in northeastern quadrant of DeSoto County right now near Highlands County, and other fires have been popping up down into Lee County as well. These fires all a result of again, the very dry conditions. You see that one? That one's going pretty good right there into Fort Myers, just east again of Fort Myers, and then another one up here in southeastern portions of Polk County. So it's starting to break out rather rapidly this evening with that high fire danger, and we'll see similar conditions tomorrow, but Sunday, higher humidity, chance for some rainfall, some beneficial rains, but we got to watch out for that lightning.
It's incredible you could see it on radar like that.
Right, absolutely.
Unbelievable. Thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come on ABC7 at 7, the battle over health care continues. House Republicans negotiating a new bill that may be announced as soon as next week. President Trump expressing his optimism over the new plan, calling it a great bill.
The official Suncoast Storm team at ABC7. We're here for you.
Is your mop a dirty, disgusting mess? You need the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System, the only mop and bucket that spins the dirt away. A system that cleans practically anything and everything with super absorbent microfiber. Dip it in the washer side and the mess releases into the bucket. Then place it in the dryer side and push on the pedal. You get a clean mop head that's practically dry and ready for more. And your hands will never again touch a dirty, disgusting mop. The heads are washable and reusable. Get the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System for just 2 payments of $19.99. You'll also get a Sticky Buddy, the reusable sticky roller that picks up pet hair and lint and washes clean in seconds. You can take advantage of our 2-for-1 Pick It Up special and get a second spin mop set. Just pay additional shipping and fee. And we'll upgrade you to free priority handling. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-394-1524 to get your Hurricane Spin Mop double offer. So hurry and call 1-800-394-1524. Call now.
Why settle for less? Get more for your money at Sunset Subaru in Sarasota. Subaru is rated the #1 car brand in safety, and all Subaru models with eyesight are a 2017 IIHS Top Safety Pick. And you can lease the most award-winning small SUV, a new Subaru Forester, for just $209 a month. Or get 0% financing with complimentary maintenance included. Get more for your money. go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
I heard about the Dotole Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotole Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
The countdown until President Trump marks his 100th day in office is approaching, and House Republicans are trying to give him the gift of a new health care bill, a major component of Trump's campaign promises. Congress is back from recess in just a few days, and the White House has been pushing hard behind the scenes to strike a deal. ABC's Kenneth Moten has the latest on this new bill from Washington.
President Trump one day closer to marking his first 100 days in office. Optimistic about the House Republicans' plan to take another crack at health care.
We're doing very well on health care. We'll see what happens. But this is a great bill. There's a great plan.
White House aides have been working to revive the president's signature campaign promise to repeal and replace Obamacare. The GOP plan, dead on arrival as Republicans failed to reach an agreement.
It was a very, very tight margin. We had no Democrat support.
Sources say the new plan would keep some popular parts of the Affordable Care Act, like coverage for pre-existing conditions. But individual states could request to opt out of key mandates to lower insurance costs. Republicans hoping to get the deal done before the president's 100th day milestone next Saturday.
My 100-day action plan to make America great again.
The president repeatedly hyped up on the campaign trail what he would do in those first crucial days, even unveiling a contract in Gettysburg. Trump now tweeting this morning, "No matter how much I accomplish during the ridiculous standard of the first 100 days, media will kill."
I think it's been underwhelming. 2/3 of the country thinks we're off on the wrong track, and a majority of the country still disapproves of him. So I think he still has much more to prove.
As Republicans continue to work on health care, there's another potential major roadblock, a looming government shutdown if lawmakers don't pass a funding bill by next Friday. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, Washington.
Coming up, ABC7 interviews Congressman Vern Buchanan. What is his take on plans for a health care bill? And is the era of strategic patience over? Buchanan speaks on the tensions between the Trump administration and North Korea.
This is an important medical announcement. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that Pradaxa can cause more heart attacks than warfarin, and other countries have already issued safety warnings against this drug. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. The call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to Pradaxa victims, and thousands of Xarelto victims are filing their legal cases. Call the Drug Watch hotline. If you or a loved one used Xarelto or Pradaxa and experienced uncontrollable bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or even death, you must call now.
Call 800-793-6055. 800-793-6055.
So many times we underestimate the human spirit's drive to recover. We often see people surpass what any of us might have expected initially. The Rehabilitation Pavilion at Sarasota Memorial is the top of the line. It allows us to really bring the patient's recovery to the next level.
When you want to get away from it all, to a place where you can do everything, or nothing at all, surrounded by natural beauty and all the modern amenities you might desire, then you'll want to be here at the Wanna Be Inn on the beautiful shores of Manasota Key, Florida. To plan your escape, log on to wannabeinn.com.
Is your old garage door stuck or broken? Would a new one give you a lift? Let Precision Door Overhead Garage Door Service of Sarasota come to the rescue with prompt and affordable repair service. Replacement doors come with an array of styles and colors, and they are rated to meet and exceed Florida standards. From estimates to installation, your satisfaction is our priority. If you're not 100% satisfied with any product, service, or installation, we will make it right, because Precision Door Service is a name you can trust.
There's word Republicans in Congress will take another crack at repealing and replacing Obamacare. Their effort went down in flames last month because they couldn't get enough Republican votes in the Republican-controlled House. I spoke with Congressman Vern Buchanan about his take on a new health care plan and what's happening when it comes to rising tensions with North Korea.
I think it's 50-50. My guess is that we might not get there, but I really can't say. I'll know a lot more when I get up there this coming Tuesday when I'm back in town and get a chance to discuss it. I know there's some discussion about negotiation ongoing. I know the president wants to get it done. They've just got to find common ground to get to 216 votes. And I think whether it's a week or two or a month, I think within the month window there should be a chance to get it done. That would be my best guess.
You know, your top goal ever since I've been in town has been tax reform. But the question becomes, how do you even do tax reform, let alone do it by August, which was your goal, until you do health care reform? Because in order to fund tax cuts, the conventional wisdom is that you would use the savings from health care.
Well, we would, if we can't get something done, we would move to tax reform. The cuts wouldn't be what they are. But we do have $1 trillion in tax loopholes. If we can close a lot of those, if not most of them, we can get some cuts. They're talking about border adjustability tax. If that was to pass, there would be some additional revenue there. They're talking about doing away with interest deduction other than real estate. There'd be $1 trillion probably there. So they're looking at various options. And in terms of the health care, if they get that done, that's additional money. So we're looking at 43% tax cuts for corporations and pass-through entities, small business, I should say. But if we don't get any of these things done, then that number becomes a different number considerably.
Whatever happens, does it have to be deficit neutral, meaning that you would not add to the budget deficit by having tax cuts?
Well, it needs to be revenue neutral. I mean, at the end of the day, but they have a concept, as you're probably aware of, dynamic scoring. If we can move the economy from growing from 1% to 3%, add additional revenues into the Treasury, that'll be something considered based on the policy of certain tax reform.
What impact, if any, did your town hall and the town halls that you're seeing your colleagues endure have on your approach to health care? Because there are people out there who honestly believe that Obamacare is helping them. I think the polls kind of show that more than half of all Americans or people who are on it support Obamacare, and they're concerned when there's discussion about taking away pre-existing conditions or children staying on their parents' plan, or what, one proposal which was taking away the minimum coverage offerings.
Well, in our area, we have 236,000 to start off on Medicare, so it doesn't affect them at all. You get 150, 160 million people on their employers' health care. Doesn't affect them at all, really, other than maybe reducing the mandates on small business. So you're talking about the ACA, or the Affordable Care Act, is 4% of the population. The idea is to try to work with them, and some of the things that have been put in place, like pre-existing conditions, some of those different things, 26, is to try to incorporate that going forward. My biggest concern, frankly, is I want to make sure that between 50 and 65, they get the proper support. And then in terms of Medicaid, which is another 4% of the population, is make sure that the poor get taken care of. So those are two big factors, but most people get their insurance through their employer or through the government.
Let me finally get your take on North Korea. It seems that tensions are rising there. I'm wondering what your concern is about where we are now in terms of the rhetoric coming out of both sides.
I've been to Korea 2 or 3 times the last 4 or 5 years. We've got a lot of capability. You know, I'm more concerned, frankly, with Russia and China. North Korea, I think we can deal with them aggressively. And we've got capability in Japan and in Asia. So I feel like there's been a lot of rhetoric, but I think it's something we can clearly deal with. I'm more concerned, you know, when we start talking about, you know, some of the bigger countries, if we have a challenge there at some point in the future.
But the Vice President said this week, the era of strategic patience is over. If you take that literally, it seems like the administration wants something resolved, so every time that you hear talk about a missile test, that the world's not freaking out.
Well, I think he's a negotiator, a deal maker. I think he's pretty tough on the front end. Hopefully we can put something together, but I think we're going to work through the Korea thing.
When we return to the trapezoid, it's been almost 100 days since Donald Trump's been in office. How is reality stacking up with what he promised in his first 100 days? But first, a check on your weekend forecast.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented. That's right, half. Nearly 50%, mostly by making small everyday changes in your diet and controlling your weight, walking more, eating less, and eating foods that help you and your family to seriously reduce the risk of cancer. And of course, by not smoking. Visit the Cancer Prevention Together We Can website and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, stats, and more about protecting your family. Go to prevent50.org.
You love your couch and want to protect it from spills, food, and scratching, shedding pets. Introducing Couch Coat, the reversible, washable quilted cover that protects your couch. Shield against spills, wow, stop stains, and dirty pet paws and sharp claws. Plus, it's reversible with 2 stylish colors. Guaranteed to fit any couch up to 92 inches or your money back. It even has covers to protect armrests. Machine washable too.
My grandkids destroy everything, but with Couch Coat, my couch is always protected, looking as good as it did the day I bought it.
Get your Couch Coat for just $19.99, and it's reversible in brown and cream, like 2 couch coats for the price of 1. Order right now, and you can double your offer. Get a second Couch Coat. Just pay a separate fee. Order right now.
Call 1-800-943-0710 to get your couch coat. Call now or go to couchcoat.com. So call 1-800-943-0710. That's 1-800-943-0710. Call now.
Attention, this is an important message for anyone who has taken Xarelto or Pradaxa. If you or a loved one took the blood thinner medication Xarelto or Pradaxa and was then hospitalized for internal bleeding, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to serious, even fatal internal bleeding. If you suffered a stroke, heart attack, or serious internal bleeding, or if a loved one died after taking Xarelto or Pradaxa, call us now. Our network of attorneys have years of experience fighting the big pharmaceutical companies and is ready to fight for you. Potential claims are being reviewed for users of Xarelto or Pradaxa who have suffered severe bleeding or hemorrhaging, stroke, or even death. Our network of experienced attorneys is ready to fight for you. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled. Call today for a free confidential consultation. Don't fight this alone.
Please call 800-928-6604. That is 800-928-6604.
Next, a discussion of President Trump's first 100 days in office. But first, a check on your weekend forecast with ABC's chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan.
Thanks, Alan. Some changes over the weekend. We are going to see a chance for some showers and a few thunderstorms. Not enough to really help matters in terms of the drought. But Van Wey's a webcam showing beautiful weather for boating and for beach going and outdoor activities for the most part. Looking pretty good out there. No real threat of any kind of advisories with this front on a Saturday or Sunday. Good news on the red tide front. You know, we've talked about red tide, how dangerous it is for sea life and manatees in particular just not too long ago. And not just 2 areas reporting some red tide. Actually, very low concentrations. We have been dealing with high concentrations for the last several months now, but that seems to be all gone now with not present to background levels being reported from Manatee County southward into Charlotte County. Temperatures right now, there's a little bit of a sea breeze has moved in, upper 70s there to mid 70s where the sea breeze has kicked on in. Inglewood at 76, nice. Cortez the same, the water temperature at 78, but east of that, temperatures all in the 80s from Avon Park and Hardy County into Wauchula and DeSoto County. Titan radar picture, not depicting any rainfall around, but we had some fires around earlier. One in particular right there near Charlotte County, and you can see earlier we had some smoke plume from there. The fire itself was down in this neck of the woods. It's still an active fire at this point, but not nearly as strong as it was. At least we're not seeing it on the radar returns. This one has been going for the last couple of hours right now into Polk County, spreading off at least that smoke plume on into Haines City. Whenever you have that smoke around in the morning, it can cause some significant fog, so keep that in mind driving along Interstate 4. This went down just to the east of Fort Myers. Still, it does not appear to be contained 100%, but that is to the east of Fort Myers. The one thing we will get is some rain, showers, and thunderstorms scattered about. Unfortunately, thunderstorms this time of year can produce lightning outside of the rain area, and that can cause significant fires to actually develop even a day after the storm has moved through. They kind of sit around and smolder for a while in some of the remote areas. Chance for severe weather well to our north. 78 right now, and the dew point is up there, and the high today was up there as well, nearly record-breaking high, 88 degrees, 91 the record set in 1946, and the deficit for the year so far, over 7.5 inches of rainfall. Tomorrow, a little bit of increase in clouds. We saw a lot of sunshine today. We'll see an increase in clouds in advance of the storm. High temperatures will still reach into the mid-80s, upper 80s inland. You can see this is the forecast model showing that cloud and moisture increase on and through the day on Saturday. Here comes the front. Making its way across parts of the panhandle of Florida on Sunday morning. And then for us, the front comes through. A lot of inland showers and thunderstorms. The front will start to move through our area late Sunday night and into Monday morning, bringing with it a chance for a few showers. Well, we had our first named storm of the season, Arlene. It's no longer out there. It's actually now non-tropical in nature, and it's for the most part being absorbed by a larger scale circulation out in the Atlantic. For boaters, tomorrow looks good. Seas running right around 2 feet. And a light chop on the bays and inland waters. Beaches will see a high right around 82 degrees. UV index a high 10 for us tomorrow for beaches. High tide at 9:18 and low tide will be at 11:06. Sunset at 7:58. Partly cloudy, clearing late, 65 for low. Tomorrow, see some sunshine, just a few clouds in the morning and then increasing clouds in the afternoon. The rain chance at 20%. The extended forecast is calling for a better chance for showers on Sunday, mainly afternoon and evening, Monday morning, and then turn breezy and cooler for Monday and Tuesday. Alan will be back with the guests right after this. Stick around.
Attention blood clot filter patients. Surgically implanted blood clot filters are potentially life-threatening. Some filters are prone to breaking, resulting in pieces of the filter moving through the body and causing internal bleeding. If you had surgery to implant a blood clot filter, you may be entitled to a cash award, even if you haven't suffered side effects yet. Call the Gold Shield Group now, 888-747-5291, to see if you qualify for a cash award, 888-747-5291.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-628-1251. 800-628-1251.
If you've ever had a bad night's sleep, call and price the new Craftmatic Legacy. It has so much more than other adjustables and still costs up to 50% less. Featuring a rising adjustable pillow rest to support your head, neck, and shoulders, bedside power plugs, under-bed night lights, and more. So call and price one today for less, up to 50% less than Tempur-Pedic, Sleep Number, and other adjustables.
You get so much more and it still costs less. You gotta see how little they cost.
Call 1-800-774-8103. That's 1-800-774-8103. Call now.
You only have one life. Are you gambling with it? 1 in 3 adults have high blood pressure. Not knowing your numbers could cause you to lose, big time. Luckily, you can turn the odds in your favor by getting your blood pressure checked today. Don't leave your health to chance. Learn more at heart.org/HPV.
I'll look now into President Trump's promises for his first 100 days and what has actually been accomplished. We are joined tonight by the Sarasota State Committee Man for the Republican Party of Sarasota, Christian Ziegler, the Vice Chair of the Sarasota Democratic Party, Kevin Griffith, and Deputy Managing Editor for the Business Observer, Mark Gordon. Mark, welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you.
I was just on Facebook. I shouldn't say that while I'm on the air, but I saw somebody with a question. Trump first 100 days, overwhelmed or underwhelmed? Christian.
I think I'm overwhelmed, probably. I'm probably right up at the top.
Kevin?
I mean, you know, maybe Jeb Bush said it best, the chaos candidate, and now he's trying to govern chaotically, so that would be a bit underwhelming.
Mark?
No, I think from just talking to business owners and executives on the Gulf Coast, I think somewhere in between, they want a little bit more action, a little bit more certainty on healthcare and taxes.
I'm wondering how all of you would, your take on the following. The president, when he was candidate Trump, promised a lot in his first 100 days. Let's take a look.
I am asking the American people to dream big once again. What follows is my 100-day action plan to make America great again. A constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. I will announce my intention to totally renegotiate NAFTA. I will direct my Secretary of the Treasury to label China a currency manipulator. Cancel every unconstitutional executive action, memorandum, and order issued by President Obama. Begin removing the more than 2 million criminal illegal immigrants from the country. Suspend immigration from terror-prone regions where vetting cannot safely occur. Middle-class Tax Relief and Simplification Act. The American Infrastructure Act. The Repeal and Replace Obamacare Act.
I would say the batting average is really not there yet. China currency manipulator. Now he says China is not a currency manipulator. The president even issued this contract at the time, saying in his first 100 days that they would take legislative measures to middle-income tax relief, end offshoring act, the infrastructure bill, school choice, repeal and replace Obamacare, ending illegal immigration, the Child Care and Elder Care Act, restoring community safety, restoring national security. How do you, Christian, look at what the promise was and what the reality is when you have a Republican-controlled House and Senate?
Well, you know, it took him some time to get his team on the field. You can't really play until your team's on the field. It's taken the Senate, I think, a little too long to get people appointed and confirmed. So he's been working on that. But I will tell you, I mean, I think he's been executing on a lot of stuff he's promised. You talk about jobs, manufacturing, small business, optimism's through the roof, the highest it's ever been. Immigration, he's starting to build the wall, starting to take actions towards building the wall. Catch and release, he ended. You have the Dakota and Keystone Pipeline. That's something we talked about for years. He executed that. They've already started construction on that. And then, most importantly, you have the SCOTUS pick. I mean, we have a Supreme Court justice on there that is no doubt a conservative that the left fears, and he got him in, got him confirmed. And so I'm happy. I mean, you talk about these other issues. A lot of this is a work in progress, and we do depend on Congress to start taking action on a lot.
Right, but I mean, those were promises. Those were
and he's working on them. It's not like this isn't that his campaign's not over on day 100. 100 is a term that's built by the media to hype their ratings, have a goal.
He made 100 days
I understand, but this is a focus on the media at the 100 days. I think 100 days, he's already taken action on a lot of this stuff. Obamacare, he's already tried to do that. He went through it. Looks like we're going to have round 2 on it. But again, that is a phrase that everyone, the media, everyone's focused on. But his presidency goes on well beyond that, and I think he'll execute.
What about it, Kevin? I mean, he did get Gorsuch on the Supreme Court. In terms of execution, whether you like Gorsuch or not, that was successful. What else?
Well, I think what the Republicans and Christian are learning that governing is not as easy as sitting on the sideline and, lobbing critiques. And I would recommend to, if he's listening, President Trump, to consider working with the Democrats as opposed to working with, for example,
Democrats
the Freedom
are not
Caucus.
going to work with
Well,
him.
on certain issues he might. You know, he had mentioned early on, and I remember I said this on one of the shows right after the election, infrastructure. Infrastructure, it goes to this working class person. If we could get an infrastructure bill, I believe that there are Democrats who would be willing to work with him. But again, trying to push things through on a party line vote, and as we've seen, he can't even whip his own party. It's troubling.
Mark, I'm curious, and you have your pulse on the finger of the business community and people who are interested in what's happening in Washington. Does anybody really care about this 100 days? Does anybody really care that they promised repealing Obamacare and did not deliver, that the travel ban is tied up in the courts? Money for the wall has not been appropriated, and there's a real question about whether it will be.
I think, business owners day to day are looking, how do they grow their business? How do they hire people? I think they want certainty. That's the word we heard most frequently in the past administration, was uncertainty. What was going to happen with Obamacare? What was going to happen with our tax laws? So I think they want certainty. How it gets there, I don't think the 100 days or 125 days is as important as to what happens.
Because when you talk about, let's say, tax reform, tax cuts, it's intertwined with health care, because they were counting on the savings from taking some 20 million Americans off of their subsidies for Obamacare to help fund those tax cuts. You still do not have a deal. And from what I have read, that undertaking tax reform, even among the Republicans, there's not a consensus of exactly what to do when.
No, but I mean, it is, as Kevin mentioned, I mean, it's difficult to govern when you go into Washington. What's interesting is everything we've talked about. I mean, Trump's getting criticized for the refugee ban not getting enacted. Well, he put it forward. The courts put the blocks on it. You talk about health care. I mean, Congress couldn't get it done. They couldn't get it over the hurdle. So I don't know why Trump's necessarily being blamed for a lot of this stuff when he has taken action. He's come in, he's worked hard, and he's put forward plans, and it just takes time for this stuff to enact. So I think even with tax care, you're exactly right. This isn't something that you can come out, say, hey, here's the plan, let's go with it. It's going to need to be bounced around between the House and the Senate. Individual members are going to have their say. They're going to amend it like crazy. So it is a work in progress. That's why I don't understand. I mean, you have a 100-day mark, and he's got to get his team in. Then he's got to, get in there and figure out what's really going on in the federal government, and then Congress he's got to work with.
But you see these stories all the time. They compare Trump's 100 days to Obama's, to Clinton's, all the way back to Roosevelt. 8 years ago, Obama came in. There was TARP bailing out the banks and bailing out Detroit. I mean, they did get those things done in the middle of a overwhelming economic crisis.
Two things. One, it was legislation that was being passed, and that's how it's judged, at least used to be how it was judged. And so, I mean, again, Donald Trump ran as the deal maker. So just because if he puts forth an executive order and the courts shoot it down, then maybe he didn't cut a good deal.
I want to get to one other area before we break, and that is the increasing tensions with North Korea, the issue about where is our aircraft carrier. Mark, are people concerned about what is happening with North Korea, or is it still one of those issues that we hear about, but we don't really worry about? It doesn't affect our business.
I think it's getting to the point where people are concerned. I mean, definitely the mystery about where the aircraft carrier is puzzling to people. So I think in this area,
Christian's laughing.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is an issue. Okay, so he misspoke, or he announced it. He actually didn't even misspeak. They announced it early because they came together. They had, my understanding is they had a meeting and they said, okay, we're going to send that aircraft carrier over to this area. Well, they were a couple days early announcing that, and the aircraft carrier had to go in and do exercises in the South Pacific. But then once they were done with that, after a couple days, it started to go towards North Korea. So I think that this is something that's taken out of context to delegitimize the president, and it's frustrating.
Kevin, I'll give you the last word on that.
Well, I am someone who believes that politics ends at the water's edge, because this is very serious stuff. And, North Korea, we romanticize war sometimes, but we need to be, I mean, it's getting close to a place where people need to start paying attention, and hopefully the powers that be can walk this back a little bit. I will note that strategic patience, which was the Obama administration's policy, wasn't do nothing. It was cyber warfare where was the emphasis. And that missile that just went down, some say was cyber.
Okay, let's take a quick break. We'll be back after a break with final thoughts on President Trump's first 100 days in office.
If you want 24/7 access to ABC7's breaking news stories, weather forecasts, traffic alerts, health reports, Suncoast View, and more ABC7 programming, now there's good news. Introducing the free ABC7 channel on Amazon Fire TV. Your 24/7 access to ABC7. Just search ABC7 on the streaming device and download the free ABC7 channel app. Or if you don't have an Amazon Fire TV, you can get one at Amazon.com. Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $10 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand, with no surprises, and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular received a J.D. Power Award for highest customer service. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and switch now. For a limited time, get your first month of service free. Call 800-457-2317, go online, or visit a Target store today.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. Our promise means a new car you'll love. If not, return it for one you do. At Sarasota Ford, we promise live market pricing. We monitor national pricing on our entire inventory, so you get the best deal. In fact, we guarantee it. Bring us any competitor's ad, and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
Welcome back. It's time for final thoughts. And Mark, let me ask you this, whether you are for or against the president. Since his election, the stock market has been at a pretty good clip up until really recently, and it's kind of stalled out. And the question is, to you, is it because there's been, a lot of, chaos from the executive orders to the Russia investigation, what's happening in the Middle East? Is that having an impact in terms of, what do local businesses think about that?
I think what's happening internationally is definitely having an impact on the stock market and, where people want to invest. I mean, as we talked about before, it's scary what's going on, and it's giving people pause in the stock market for sure.
Is there any, decrease in terms of local businesses, in terms of their outlook, in terms of the near term and the longer term, in terms of what this administration will be doing?
I think the outlook is still really positive. I think there's still people who think that he's going to get tax reform done, that healthcare will shift in some way and help business owners. The outlook is positive for business owners.
Kevin, what is your takeaway?
We were talking off air, but I believe uncertainty, business people as well as Americans in general want certainty in their politics and in their business. And right now, as Jeb Bush said, there's just too much chaos. I think people want calm down and to see some sort of progress that they can trust and believe in.
Christian, are you concerned about anything in terms of how this administration is executing whatever plan it has?
No, I mean, there's been a lot that's been happening. I think when you look at the media and the left, they're focused on whatever issues are sexy to them that they want to get out there. But meanwhile, behind the scenes, excuse me?
It's all the media's fault?
I think a good portion of it is. I mean, when you say, oh, it's the tweets, why are people talking about it? Well, let's dive into why do people talk about issues? And it's because the media focuses and they highlight and they run story after story after story on something. But meanwhile, what I wanted to get into is, like this week alone, he signed an executive order, a Buy America executive order, and that targets, making sure federal agencies are buying American-built products, American manufactured products, and he's looking at regulations and you know, the trade deals and everything. There is a focus on America first, and we're seeing that happen.
We'll have to leave it there, although I would say if there were no tweets, people wouldn't be talking about them. Want to watch past roundtables discussions? They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. When we return, we'll discuss the 2018 governor's race with the millionaire Orlando businessman who is running as a Democrat.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
This is an important medical announcement. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that Pradaxa can cause more heart attacks than warfarin, and other countries have already issued safety warnings against this drug. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. The call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to Pradaxa victims, and thousands of Xarelto victims are filing their legal cases. Call the Drug Watch hotline if you or a loved one used Xarelto or Pradaxa and experienced uncontrollable bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or even death. You must call now.
Call 800-793-6055. 800-793-6055.
When you want to get away from it all, to a place where you can do everything, or nothing at all, surrounded by natural beauty and all the modern amenities you might desire, then you'll want to be here at the Wanna Be Inn on the beautiful shores of Manasota Key, Florida. To plan your escape, log on to wannabeinn.com.
Welcome back. Tonight, all the Democrats thinking about running for governor or attending Manatee's annual Democratic dinner, and one of them, Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum, was here last week. Tonight, we welcome another Orlando businessman, Chris King, and thank you very much for joining us. Chris, tell us why you are running for governor. This your first shot at elective office?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for having me. Yes, I'm running for governor because this is a great state. It's a state that I love. I grew up here, raising a family here, started a business here, but it is a state with some great challenges. And it is my view that our one-party state government in Tallahassee is failing to address those challenges in a meaningful way, and I'm running to do something about it.
What kind of business are you in?
I'm in an affordable housing business. I provide safe, clean, and affordable housing to seniors and working families now all over the Southeast.
And obviously it's been very successful, and that will help you during this campaign, but boy, you're going up against some people who are extremely well known around the state. We don't know if John Morgan is going to run, but you know, he's better known than just about any politician in the state. Gwen Graham, the former congresswoman, is the daughter of a former senator and governor. Mayor Gillum from Tallahassee is known up there. Phil Levine from Miami Beach is very well known in South Florida. Given that, how do you, what's your strategy for introducing yourself to Florida voters and winning this election?
Well, I think most folks all across this state, as I'm traveling around it, recognize that in many cases traditional political experience got us into many of the messes we're in today, and it's going to be new leaders with fresh ideas that get us out of it. I am a new candidate with some new ideas. Our party has not been successful in a long time, and we think this is a wide open race where we can really do something special.
Well, let me ask you this, and this is a tough question, but Donald Trump made that same kind of argument, and it got him to the presidency, but he is struggling now in terms of the levers of power and how to legislate. Being in business, even if you're very successful, is a lot different than being a chief executive officer of a state or a country.
Well, the only thing similar between me and Governor Scott or President Trump is the word business. I've run a very different type of business. It's reflected my values. Everyone in our business at the base level makes a living wage. Everyone receives health care, full health care covered by the company. Everyone's entitled to a bonus program. I think what Floridians are looking for is an authentic leader who has progressive values, but has those entrepreneurial disciplines and knows how to get big things done.
Right. So what do you think is the biggest problem in Florida, and what's your proposed answer to it?
Biggest problem today in Florida is that 45% of our jobs make less than $15 an hour. Our economy does not work for so many families. Families are struggling and hurting, and we've got to do something different about that.
What?
Well, my view is for too long, the leaders in Tallahassee have spent huge amounts of time and money in luring out-of-state businesses to come to Florida paying low-wage jobs. I believe, it's my belief, that we've got to create homegrown businesses here in Florida that pay wages that support families. That's everything I'll be talking about in this election.
We have less than a minute left, but I do want to ask you this. If you did win,
Sure.
it would be very likely that you would be dealing with a overwhelmingly Republican-controlled Senate and House. How would a Democrat be able to work with a Republican-dominated legislature to get anything done?
Sure. Well, I'm a leader who's proven in my life, in business, and in my service work around the state and the world that we can do big things, we can bring people together, we can build consensus, and that's something I'm looking forward to demonstrating is possible in Tallahassee.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and good luck on the campaign trail.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Coming up is our primetime headlines. The countdown to pass a government funding bill is on. The compromise to keep the money flowing through the year 2017 fiscal year.
Introducing the all-new Alfa Romeo Giulia, a performance masterpiece. Race-inspired handling and lightning-fast response times take your drive to the next level. Find yours at Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
I believe that home is where your pet is.
And that loving an animal means never giving up on them, never letting them go.
I believe that when you spay or neuter your pets, you help decrease the number of homeless animals.
Because every dog and cat deserves a place to call home.
I believe that I found my best friend at a shelter. And you can too.
We believe that together with Best Friends Animal Society,
we can bring about a time when there are no more homeless pets.
Visit ambassadors.bestfriends.org.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Sarasota Magazine and PNC Wealth Management present the Best of Sarasota Soiree at Selby Gardens on April 24th.
It's an evening to sip, savor, and celebrate Sarasota Manatee's best of winners.
This year will be full of Warhol-inspired surprises, entertainment, and a tribute to those representing the best in our community.
Come join ABC7 for all the fun.
Get your tickets today at sarasotamagazine.com.
Two years ago, my son was born. Now he's running, playing, and learning to speak. When I look at him, I can't help but to see how free he is. I want my son to have the same freedom when he grows up. Protect our freedom of speech, not just for us, but for the future generations.
Giulia from Alfa Romeo. Appearance. Performance. Power. Find yours at Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Checking our primetime headlines, President Trump is working to bring home an Egyptian-American aid worker who has spent the last 3 years in prison, calling the man's homecoming a priority after he was found to be falsely accused. ABC's Karen Travers has the story.
The White House says President Trump was directly engaged with the effort to bring Aya Hijazi back to the U.S. He made it clear to the Egyptian government this was a priority for him. This all played out behind the scenes, and officials here say that was deliberate to get it done. President Trump welcoming Aya Hijazi to the Oval Office Friday morning, joined by his daughter Ivanka, her husband Jared Kushner, and National Security aide Dina Powell. The Egyptian-American aid worker just arrived back in the U.S. after spending 3 years in prison in Cairo for charges that were widely dismissed as false. President Trump and his team worked a full-court press for weeks to secure her freedom and that of her husband and several other aid workers. The president even sending a U.S. government aircraft to Cairo to bring Hijazi and her family to Washington. Dina Powell, who was born in Egypt, accompanied them. The president said Hijazi has great strength.
We are very happy to have Aya back home, and it's a great honor to have her in the Oval Office with her brother.
The White House says President Trump brought up Hijazi's case in a private meeting with Egyptian President al-Sisi when he was at the White House earlier this month. The Trump administration has tried to reset relations with Egypt. They were strained under the Obama administration. But a senior official here insists there was no quid pro quo with al-Sisi's government to secure Hijazi's release. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Now to the latest on the deadly attack in Paris. The suspect shot dead by police has been identified as a 39-year-old man from an eastern suburb of Paris. A gunman opened fire Thursday on the Champs-Élysées, one of the most popular tourist spots in the world, killing a police officer and wounding 2 others. ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attack.
We saw the shooter in black. He had a black rifle. It looked like an AR-15. It sounded like an AR-15. He rang out about 10 shots towards the police on the road, and at that time, my wife yelled, "Run."
The alleged attacker reportedly spent years in prison for attempting to kill 2 police officers, but was released in 2015. Earlier this year, he was brought in for questioning again, but there wasn't enough to hold him. The cabin in California where the nationwide manhunt for a missing teenager and her teacher finally came to an end. Tad Cummings is now in federal custody and will be arraigned on Monday. The 50-year-old teacher was found with his student, a 15-year-old Elizabeth Thomas, deep in the woods of upstate California, nearly 2,500 miles away from her Tennessee home. Authorities received a tip late Wednesday night that the 2 were hiding out in the cabin. They were staying with Griffin Barry and went by fake names John and Joanna. Barry says once he realized who they were, he called 911. Cummings faces state and federal charges, including aggravated kidnapping. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.